Hello there, viewers. I'm the Knight of Arcane, and today is one of my favorite days of the year, Star Wars Day. I'm a huge Star Wars fan slash nerd, and like to find some way to celebrate May the 4th with either art or just watching some of the movies. So of course I worked to get something Star Wars related done for today. So, I decided to do FNAF Security Breach Animatronics as Mandalorians. Since I had a lot of fun with the last Mandalorians video, and thought it'd be fun to do it with FNAF animatronics. Plus, really wanted to do something with FNAF, and this felt like a good idea to do. Anyways, let's get right into the video, shall we? Hello there. Looking for some drinks and a story? Oh, I can easily tell. You must have heard about a story I told another patron some time ago. Well, I have one that's quite recent. Picking the story up about a week ago. Though another patron I told this to claims to be eerily similar to another. Bah! Anyways, this story is about a Mandalorian and how he adopted his target and going on adventures for the galaxy. Yeah, it sounds a lot like the story of Din Djarin and that baby Yoda, but trust me, completely different. So, this Mandalorian, name's Miklam. No last name available at this time. He's a respectable bounty hunter, always gives his targets a choice. First, if they'll come peaceably or bruised, then if they try to start something, dead or alive. And yet, he's a pretty nice guy when not on the clock. Even likes to sing and watch cheesy holovid soap operas. Anyways, he gets put on this team to collect a target that somehow escaped their shadowy employer, and is now hidden somewhere on the junk world of Raxus Prime. The team he was on had a Rishi that never stopped eating during the whole trip, a Shistavanian that kept claiming to be the best, and a Trandoshan that immediately took their leader role for the mission. Think a few other small-time bounty hunters were there too, but not important for the story. Though they did interact with Alepi as a go-between with their employer. Back on track, they reach the junk world and run into some trouble with rogue droids. I believe they are former creations of the disgraced Jedi Kazdan Paratus. During this scuffle, Miklam gets separated and fell into an underground tunnel system, where he found a young boy, calling himself Grigori. Miklam was a little surprised the kid had the same name as his target, but didn't have time to think on that as more droids attacked them. Once they defeated the droids and escaped, they ran into what was left of Miklam's team, which was just the Trandoshan, Rishi, and Shistavanian, who all had their blasters pointed at the two. Miklam quickly figured out that this kid, he was their target. Especially as the Trandoshan mentioned he was told to grab the kid before Miklam even had a chance to see their target. However, none of them were ready for when Grigori grabbed a wire and pulled it, causing a pile of junk to topple down, scattering the bounty hunters but crushing the Rishi. The kid seemed a bit prepared. Anyways, Miklam fights the Trandoshan, and after some close calls, wins, while Grigori hotwires an old speeder and runs over the Shistavanian repeatedly with it. With all the hunters dead, Miklam gets a call from the Lepi, claiming all he had to do was hand over the child, and nothing would happen to him. He'd even get the rest of the pay promised to the other hunters. Miklam knows he can't let these people have the kid, so he tells her off and rushes off-world with Grigori, fully knowing that they both now had a big target in the criminal underworld. Now, Miklam didn't know the best way to keep Grigori safe, nor how to raise a kid, but did know he still needed to take jobs to pay for food. While traveling to Ord Mantell, he did ask Grigori about the wire that crushed the Rishi hunter, and he got a vague response on them not being the first to go after him. Once on planet, Miklam finds a small place to hide out while doing some small jobs, and they hide out there for about a week before trouble comes. Grigori got a little bored while Miklam was out on a job, so he left their apartment to explore the town a bit more when he heard some commotion at a street vendor's shop. Surprisingly, there was another Mandalorian on the planet, who surprisingly had parts of her armor colored pink. The Mandalorian, named Chica, was arguing with the vendor about the dishes they served her. How it was quite literally trash, made from vermin found in the streets, and wanted a refund. The vendor was trying to claim she had it wrong before Grigori came out and pretended to be sick, saying that he ate some of the vendor's food and now felt like he was dying. The vendor got worried about his business and gave Chica a full refund, plus a little extra, and said to keep herself and her little charlatan away from his stall. Chica pretended to help Grigori, claiming she was going to take him to a hospital, and when they were far enough away, patted the kid on the back, impressed with his acting skills. Grigori figured she was trying to swindle the guy for her money back, and she confessed she was not impressed with his food and would rather spend her money on some real food. This exchange, though, gave Chica an idea. As a way to hustle some more restaurants and food stalls before she went back to her mission. After all, she hasn't seen her partner in a while, nor gotten any word from her about their job. So she thinks it's a great time to sample the town's delicacies. Grigori agrees, and the two go out and scam a bunch of restaurants to get free food, even from places with food that was pretty decent. But they don't hassle any of the small stores. Around sunset, the two rest, full and satisfied from the food they got, when Chica says she should get in contact with her partner. When Grigori asks what her job is, she replies they're looking for a Mandalorian who's hiding some big important bounty, and they need to retrieve the bounty and the Mandalorian if possible. Grigori pales, but Chica doesn't notice as her comlink call picks up. "Where are you? I've been trying to contact you for hours. I found him. I found Miklam and need assistance." Just a quick reminder, we have a Patreon set up. It's currently one of the best ways to help support the channel. Patrons get access to weekly art polls, early access to my other projects, and monthly art rewards starting with character headshots. Plus, the more people that join, the closer we get to our Patreon video goals. The first being Animal Crossing Villagers has animatronics, once we reach $200. So, if you can, become a patron today. Lowest tier starts at $3 a month. Every little bit helps. Anyways, now, back to the Mandos. A few hours earlier, Miklam had returned to town from his job, but stopped in the local market to pick up some groceries and other supplies for home and his jobs. While checking some fruit, a figure came up behind him with a blaster pointed into his back. "Took a while to find you, Miklam, and would have loved it if my idiot partner would turn on her comlink so we could have grabbed you in a less crowded area earlier. But you have to improvise from time to time in our line of work." Behind him was another Mandalorian. One he did hear rumors about, especially since someone had been spreading her name out as the best gunner in a small corner of the galaxy. A fact that isn't true. And an ace pilot in the riot races. A fact that is actually true. Raxus, some calling her the Wolf Racer, stood with her gun in his back, ready to shoot him if it called for it. She motioned to the side, towards an empty street leading out of the market. Miklam took a moment to nod yes, and turned to leave with her, before they got stopped by one of the market's vendors. Unseen by Rox, Miklam swiped some produce from the vendor he was at when she grabbed him, and now the vendor wanted the would-be thieves to pay for his produce. Mandos or not, they still had to pay. Rox got annoyed by them, and got distracted long enough for Miklam to knock her gun to the side, causing a small panic as he blinded her with the produce to her visor, before paying for it and running off. What follows then a chase of cat and mouse for a few hours. The whole time, Rox trying to get Chica to answer. The pink-armored Mandalorian would soon catch up with her partner, while Grigori gathered their supplies from their apartment, knowing they'd soon be leaving. Rox and Chica would soon corner Miklam, with Rox asking where the target was. And with great timing, Grigori would show up in a stolen speeder and knock her down. Miklam got in, and the two drove off as Rox fired at them. Chica confused by the whole ordeal. Miklam and Grigori hastily got ready to leave, and right as they were about to take off, they were found by Rox. Angered, and ready to blow them both up with a thermal detonator if they didn't give up. This, though, left her open to be knocked out by Chica, who wanted answers about the whole thing. The three of them would fly off and explain what they knew in Miklam's case, and what they felt like telling her in the case of Grigori, to Chica, who was horrified they were hired to deal with a kid. On their flight to Dantooine, Chica grew conflicted about this, before ultimately deciding she is going to help Miklam in protecting Grigori, but that they also needed to get answers. Which actually leads to how I got this information. They actually came by about a week ago, right after I heard a bit of this story while off planet, from Chica herself. That girl has no filter or off switch, and pretty much babbled to me their whole story while asking for any leads. From what I currently have, their best bet is another Mandalorian last seen, I think was around Malachor 5. But right now, she's not important, so my info could be wrong. However, 2 days afterwards, Rox came in for information, along with another Mandalorian. And he was big. Like, I think he might be just a hair shorter than a Wookiee. Though if you included his weird fin on the helmet, he might be the same height as one. Anyway, they wanted information on Miklam and Chica, to know if anyone saw them recently. When I asked how much it was worth, Rox threatened me that if I didn't comply with her, that her new partner Mont would tear off my arms if I didn't give her anything. I shrugged and tell them they were here, and where they went will actually cost some actual credits, and not threats. As a few of my loyal patrons came by with hands on their blasters. Rox grumbled, but placed a good amount of credits on the counter. And tell them the truth. What can I say? A gal's gotta eat. Heartbreaking stories like this one isn't going to stop me from making a profit. They leave with no incident, but I do follow and find them talking to Alepi about this news. And she seems shocked and promises to send more hired bounty hunters, which piqued my interest a bit. I did get a warning out to Chica that her old partner was coming, and that they might want to get some backup before heading to Malachor 5. But that's all I know right now. I should talk about that Mando they're going to see at some point. Oh, she has an interesting tale about her. Now, take your drinks and relax. And don't stare at some of my more loyal patrons for too long, or you might get shot out back. Ha! Just kidding. They do it in here. We're not liable if customers start fights or kill other customers in here, as long as they pay the tabs and give a huge tip. And that's a FNAF Mandalorians, huh? But the story did get inspired a bit by the story of Din Djarin and Baby Yoda, but that felt right with Freddy Mando and mysterious in-universe Gregory. But what do you guys think of these Mandos? Let me know in the comments, along with other things I should turn into Mandalorians, or that I should do with Mandalorians and Star Wars in general. And if you like this Mandalorian video, we have another one where I turn Hell of a Boss characters into Mandos. But if you want something more FNAF-like or related, we have my short FNAF as Animal Crossing Villagers video, and my Mario characters as animatronics video for that fix. And if you liked what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe to join our little Arcane town as it continues to grow. And once we reach 500, we get another FNAF related video with turning them into stands. And we're super close to that goal. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later.